the Human Resources and Safety Committee meeting. Since we are not going to ride for our invocation or anything, like we're going to just move on ahead to our meeting. First of all, do we have anybody sign up for public comment?
Yes, sir, we do. We have,
No, we're not going to talk
no, okay. She's already addressed her two questions.
Okay, no problem. We will move right along then. Okay. Our first item is our approval of our minutes of May 4th. Are there any necessary changes, addition or deletion to those minutes? And if not, I will ask for a motion to approve. I'll take a second to peruse it then, please. Got any questions?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes from the previous meeting.
Second.
Okay, probably motion second for approval of our minutes from May 4th. Are there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right. Opposes? All right, the motion carries unanimously. All right, item number 1 under discussion, position changes for FY 2017-18, presented by Finance Director, Mr. John Donaghy.
Commissioners, in your packages, you have a 2-page document with job titles. And these are the positions that are proposed to be added for this coming budget year. By position name, this was requested by the committee at their last meeting. To the right of that, you see there's a cost for each of those positions. Thank you, sir. The costs that you see there are the fully burdened costs, the salaries, the Social Security, the FICA, and the Medicare, workers' compensation, and they all include group insurance premiums at the maximum premium cost for each position, because we don't know what they would be taking when they come in, so we budget for a maximum. And that premium alone is something over $21,000 a year.
Quick question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
If, let's say the office of the director of operations, that's a total cost of that?
No, that's for the portion of the year that person, we're anticipating only like a fourth quarter, late third quarter, early fourth quarter hire.
Oh, so everybody else is for all 4 quarters?
No, not in every position, but it is broken out by what we're doing for the portion of the year that they would be employed.
The director of operations is budgeted for the final 3 months of the year. All of the other positions would be the full annual cost of that
That's
position.
it, correct.
Well, basically, I don't think we had agreed to hire the Director of Operations yet. We haven't
This is
really-
part of the upcoming year's budget.
Well, I see you put it in there, but we haven't really discussed hiring it. We had some issues with that position, Mr. Junkin.
I understand, but we couldn't wait to budget it till we resolve those last
So you
issues.
just put it just in case we do it.
Yeah, I wanted to have it budgeted so that regardless of whatever our discussion came to, if we came to an agreement on it,
Right.
we had the money.
On the second page of this, you'll see there are some deleted positions as well that we don't intend to fill this year. And just below that, you'll see there's let me back up. The positions for planning and construction division, you'll see there's a footnote 1 next to those. Those positions are being added with the provision that they be paid for either out of builders or developer fees that we'll be charging, or they'll be capitalized against construction projects during the year. So they really have no effect on the operating budget nor the user rates for the fiscal year.
But they still have an effect on like the overall JWSC budget. You're just kind of assigning.
They'll be showing up as an expenditure, but they'll have an offsetting revenue. So it nets out to a zero as far as, so it It does have, you're correct, it does have an effect on the budget itself, but it does not have an effect on the
It doesn't
user
have a
rates.
net effect.
It doesn't have, yeah, it doesn't have a net effect on the budget, and it has no effect on the user rates that we charge to support that budget.
But that wouldn't be make-believe money. I mean, if we
No,
didn't
it'll-
hire those
it'll be
positions,
real
that money
money.
still could be
It'll be real
attributable
money
to something
going-
else, right?
It will be real money going out the door, and it will be real money coming in the door to support those positions through the user fees.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are two ways that this can be handled, if I'm correct. This is a project manager, so if he's doing a project for us,
Then those,
then that would be part of the capitalization of that
Yes.
project.
Yes.
That would not be in the operating budget.
Yes.
And that I think is what is key here, is that the cost is not coming from outside, or not coming from within the operating budget, which is what we establish our rates on. It's coming from project money or from developers coming in and wanting to do stuff, is that correct?
yes, ma'am.
So if we didn't hire these people, we're not gonna do that work for these developers.
Not necessarily that on this position, but yes, overall, when the plan is that next year that we take planning and construction services that we render to the development community in reviewing and looking at their stuff will be on a fee basis and not passed on to the ratepayer. One of the things that the ratepayer should not be paying for is the cost of development. And when within the rate structure, you have the cost of review and design and doing all that kind of stuff that you do that helps developers, then you're not following that dictum.
And in fact, one of the positions in here, the hydraulic modeler, one of the things we're really missing is a means to verify the impacts of new developments on infrastructure out there. Right now, there's no requirements or no local engineers who do the hydraulic modeling to say, okay, if you start to, absorb sewer capacity in a given location for your new whatever unit development, what does it do to the infrastructure around you and all the way out to the treatment plant? Same thing with water distribution. So we're getting a hydraulic modeler to verify for ourselves what that's going to do to our systems. Right now, we look at it on a close version of what's going on, but I don't think the details of the overall picture are really well known.
Back when let me digress here a second.
Okay.
Back when we approved the modeling software, right? It was caveated that once that modeling software was on board and the training came through, that for any new development, we were actually supposed to get a modeling report with all the presentations to the commission. So, and I remember all of this and all of the training that was supposed to have been here. So now we're saying, well, we can't do that because we don't have a hydraulic modeler. Well, the software is supposed to make that a whole lot easy that, the engineer can plug it in.
They have the software, and the training has never really come to the level that it needs to be, and that's because there's a lot of other work going on. And I think don't let me put words in your mouth, Jimmy, but I think you're coming to an understanding.
Doing well so far.
But we paid for that. We paid for all of that training.
I think we still have the training available to us, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I wasn't aware that we'd ever, had the training paid for.
Oh, we did. I remember the discussions when we had all this modeling.
I'm
I'll
sure.
follow up on it, but back to what Chairman Elliott was saying, we do have a issue of right now, the workload to cover everything that's going on, that combined with the other things we're having to battle in the community because of the revelations we got this past year and capacity issues and developments that are, on the edge and trying to revive a lot of those developments, those kind of things. Staff is really literally pushed to the edge. There is no room in their time schedules to do this. I don't know if any of them actually got the training, or whether we're still, you know, that's still out there for us to take
Well, my
advantage of.
understanding is we have dairy mill that come, I mean, they were supposed to come train, because they were gonna train with, Four Waters.
Yeah. Right now, the position we've got, our intent was, and I didn't know about, we had the contract with the software provider to do that. But our intent was to do some in-house training, maybe Todd got the training, I don't know. And then work with Four Waters to bring our modeler up to speed, working on some of the things that we're challenged with right now.
Well, especially after the St. Simon's.
Yes, I mean,
Yeah, exactly. After that, it was kind of predicated at that time that the master plan was supposed to actually get all the modeling caught up to date with the entire system, so we would never have that
Okay.
situation
yeah,
ever occur again.
And we have
Four
never
Waters may have-
fully got transition from what Four Waters was doing and their modeling and us having that capability. Do we have a contract with this, Dan?
Not that, if it is, it was before my time. There's no one I've been
Right.
involved in since I've been.
I believe as part of the cost of the master plan, we purchased the software, the water gems and the sewer gems. So, Four Waters filled in the information, built the models, and there was money included in that to do the training of staff to operate those models.
Have they had that training yet?
But that training has,
I know of that. Let me go find
That
Todd.
occurred.
Is Todd here?
He is
Yeah, he
here.
was, I was just talking to him.
I got another question, basically, that these fees are supposed to pay for our development, that's what you're saying?
Yeah, what goes on now is that staff, everybody in the P and C group is paid out of our overall general fund supply by ratepayers.
Right.
Clearly, if you're doing a new development, you're going to benefit financially from it.
Right. Are you charging extra fees for them to
That's
pay
what
for
we're,
those
in
positions?
this cycle, what we're proposing for the rate resolution that you guys will be voting on is that we will charge developer review fees, new development plan review fees, much like what the county's already doing. But
Right.
we're gonna start putting the labor and time that our staff's putting into it, into fees, we're gonna charge the developers.
Also, I think if we do that, then we need to have these positions to have a beginning and an end period, as in not to exceed so-and-so. You know, that project goes 2 years. I mean, you don't want to have.
We're talking about different things. New developments come into our office all the time.
Right.
This is a continuing process. This is not it'll start today and end 6 weeks from now. It'll be, as long
Well,
as
everybody's paying fees though.
everybody that brings a development in
Right.
is gonna pay fees specific to that project. And that will be an ongoing issue.
What happens when you don't have it? I mean, the fee, somebody will be paid somehow.
If nobody is developing in this community, then things are economically so bad, we'll be laying people off and losing through attrition. I guess is what
Sure.
is that what you're talking about?
Basically, but I'm saying though, if these fees are paying for these positions,
That's the intent.
that's the intent.
That's the intent. That, and as we do capital projects, if their time is spent managing or providing some service that facilitates a project to be constructed, that's a capital project, those hours will be charged to that project as a capital charge, not as normal operating charge that the ratepayers would. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but I don't know.
You don't understand?
I understand perfectly. I do understand what you're saying, but in theory, it looks really good. But except for, I think, joint water sewer, we may come out better because you have this position on board with us. And those projects, whatever the projects are not, have already been done, completed. And we still got the position on board. So that position doing some other things. In other words, they're gonna do all the other, I really don't think all the fees are gonna pay for these positions. I don't think so. That's just my opinion. But I don't think you can charge enough money these fees to continue to pay for these people's positions.
Well, what we're doing, Mr. Harvey, is we're taking the costs we've been expending in the past. Staff's been studying what we do for the different types of projects. They develop fees based on the hours that the different positions in our staff devote to different types of projects. And we're backing out fees based on that. Now, going forward, as we do development reviews, they're going to be tracking all these hours to more exactly understand how much we're spending on let's say a subdivision.
You're going to charge those developers.
We're charging the developers as they go. I don't understand why we wouldn't get our money back, because if their time's being spent on it, we've got to get it, they ought to pay us back.
Right.
How do you stop from blending money from the developer's fees into your base operating fund? Because there's going to be certain times of the year when you may not have development going on, and then the money paying their salaries has got to come from somewhere.
Well, you're right, and it may at that time have to come out of our other general fund fees, but
That's my point.
in the short term, to provide the service, we need the resources.
Okay.
Whether it comes from those fees or comes from something else. My hope is that they will be overworked again as things go and we grow as a community, and that these development activities that they're doing will always keep up with their, because right now, they work past 5 every day. We've got more than we can handle. Besides, of course, I don't know where we charge lawsuits to, but we're doing a lot of work on a lot of things, and we're staying past 5 every day.
Okay.
Now, are these going to be what I would consider temp positions, or are they going to be
No, they're
full-time
permanent.
permanent
These
positions?
are permanent. I anticipate unless the community shuts down, developers and builders are always going to be coming to us with projects.
Let me ask you a question. Right now, if developers come, how much estimate fees do you think that we'll be able to charge?
We're anticipating or estimating about $1 million worth this first year.
Okay, all right, so, okay.
And that
And that should handle all of these.
roughly what we calculated?
Yes, sir. We went through the staff and the planning and construction division and identified, to the best of our ability, approximately how much their time is spent in development, how much is spent on internal projects, and how much is spent as a general administration of that, and interpolated that out, and we came up to approximately $1 million that's for development activities or for construction activities.
Let me add something in here. If you recall in our rate structure, we have, as part of the rate structure, money that we collect to go into resource and new projects to improve the system. That all takes engineering work and planning and construction work to make those projects go. Where that project used to be funded, the engineering work was also paid for through the rate structure, because those positions were in the rate structure.
You taking those out?
Taking those out, and now those dollars that we collect will be part of the sources to pay these people's salaries. But we also are going to have other work in terms of developers coming in here and the processes that they go through, the inspections and reviews, and those kinds of things that we're going to charge fees for to pay for their projects.
Okay. That's a little different.
A little.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, we're going to get tap fee money, which is going to give us project money. That also will help pay for these sources. Understand it may seem a little bit iffy as we start off, but I think that as we go down this path, that we can make the corrections necessary so that we won't unduly harm them, or won't harm the utility dollar.
Okay. Now, you have identified those positions which would be for that, am I right? Those positions that will be
Yes, sir.
paid on it, that they are set aside.
The fee,
Yes, sir. Those with the parenthetical 1 after the position are the ones that would be paid for in that method. And that totals to just over $250,000.
Okay, all right.
The positions that would affect the operating budget and directly total just over 96, or almost $97,000.
Okay.
That 97 is net of the 3 positions that we don't.
You got 1, 2, 3, showing 3 positions here to be paid for by the ratepayer. I mean, excuse me, the fee, whatever.
Yes, sir.
Good. And other positions you're saying here coming out of our general fund.
They would be paid for by.
Ratepayers.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right, any further discussions, any further discussion on that? Sorry, you, like I said, different, no problem. We're talking about insurance here. Now, Mr. Donaghy, so this says position changes. What have changed from what you said previously? Is there anything?
No, this is just an elaboration on what we went over with the HR committee at the prior meeting. We were asked to come back with further explanation of the need for the positions.
Okay.
You'll see under each position, there's a paragraph stating the benefit of adding that position to the organization chart.
All right. Well, you've made a very good discussion on the 3 positions that can be paid for with fees, but the other positions here, and also I'm pretty sure about finance analyst, the deputy director, I mean the office of director of operations, I don't think so yet. And the others, in my estimation, seem to be pretty good. But Mr. Junkin, I mean, you need to discuss as to why we need director of operations. if
we'll
you
go
want
through
to.
it, and I'll just go quickly over the things that we've outlined. One of the things that we've got in mind, and I think I discussed this when we talked about it before, is bringing our operations together in a consolidated location. And the benefit of that would be to look at the opportunities for finding efficiencies and effectiveness, better effectiveness to share resources, to better plan and consolidate, utilize them in a more effective way, and all the support equipment, services, those kind of things, provide a consolidated outlook there. It would, basically, I know we have similar tasks and similar activities that are conducted by the SP&M folks to the distribution maintenance folks. With that being said, and the fact that we've got people held over every day or being paid every day for overtime from each division, we looked at, there's a number of things we could do by cross-training, by consolidating overtime coverage for after-hours emergencies and those kind of things. There's opportunities to look at the skill sets of each position and what we're doing. And one of the things we're implementing in a heavy-duty way is our asset management program. What is asset management program? That's basically a program that will allow us to take care of those assets that we have out there proactively, looking at what we've got, assessing them, figuring out what needs to be done where, what the priorities are for doing those things, looking at the day-to-day planned work, tracking everything we do in work orders, how much time it takes, how many people, how many dollars, what kind of resources, equipment, materials, and allowing us to take that data, which will be generated in our asset management, computer maintenance management software, and do the data mining. And I think I emphasized the last time we talked about this, that one of the things we want to do as a utility is become more data-driven. It's one thing to be very reactive to what's going on in the world. Every time something breaks, we just go out there and fix it. But slowly but surely, we're trying to get to be more proactive in what we do, understand what's out there, what our problems are, and how we can deal with them. Cross-training, understanding what the resources are for each thing. Maybe we don't duplicate certain skill sets. Maybe we don't duplicate people. Maybe we don't duplicate certain pieces of equipment. We're going to look at offsetting a lot of those things where we have redundancy and oftentimes waste because we don't have somebody looking at the big picture very closely on a day-to-day basis for all of our operational folks. I really believe we're going to see a increase in productivity. I believe that we're going to see a reduction in cost, primarily through savings on overtime. Certain things come to my mind that we've done in other locations that I believe would be applicable here to reduce or not eliminate, but reduce it to a very, very small fraction of what we're spending right now. And we're spending significant six figures in overtime right now on operational overtime. So we've got a big opportunity there. We'll be more efficient in our ability to maintain inventory. So we'll consolidate inventory and take control of what's going on out there and bring it into one location where everybody can track what's going on, and we'll have a better accountability for those materials that we expend on each and every job. I think the planning will make us more efficient, allow us to get more things done in a normal daily basis. If we're looking at how we're working, and again, data mining to figure out where those opportunities are to shift the way we work, how we work, who's doing the work, to get more effective outcomes in the team that we've got. And if we've got a lack of skills, provide training. We ought to be able to pinpoint that with some of the data we're going to be mining out of this. But we need an individual who is going to be the champion to do all this. This is not going to be, somebody sitting in an office somewhere 2 miles away. This has got to be somebody that's hands-on, sees what's going on, and put their hands on what's not getting done, what's getting done right, what's getting done wrong, and make the decisions that affect all the operating divisions. So that's, and I truly believe we're going to be saving many times the cost of the salary we're going to be putting in here by doing this.
Can I ask a question? All right, we've gotten this list of positions. These are the positions that you would like to have. The dollar value is going to be in next year's budget, per se.
Yes, sir.
What is the next step that you want, or what is the next step that takes place if the budget gets passed? Does that automatically mean these positions get passed? Or
Now, what I'm hearing today, we'll have to go through every position and go through what we're doing right now.
That's why you and I, that's why we're talking about this, because I really don't want you to just pass the budget, because since he putting them in there, you're right. That's why I asked the question earlier about, are these positions budgeted already? And Mr. Junkin said, they put the money there in case we do approve these. But these positions have not been approved. But I understand what you're saying, that if we approve the budget and they're already in there, that means they're already approved.
and that's what I'm kind of getting confused with.
You guys are the policymakers. I'll go with how you, I'm recommending the positions. If you want to approve them with the budget, I'm for it.
I think the one position is the Director of Operations. And there's a way to, I understand what you're trying to do with the Director of Operations. And in a military organization, which you're not familiar with, you have a commander, an XO, then you have a personnel person, then you have an intelligence person, and then you have the key staff member that makes that organization go is the Director of Operations. Now, the commander has as his direct reports, the unit commanders are his direct reports. The Director of Operations does not have those people as direct reports. Meaning that the Director of Operations is there as your person,
Right.
to make sure the things that you're trying to do get done. This thing needs to kind of flow such that you achieve what you're trying to achieve, and I think that would kind of satisfy the issues that you see as a problem.
Yes, sir. You know, you're right. I see some of the issues that, you're right. One of the things with superintendents, you got superintendents, and you need to hold them accountable for a lot of things that you want to hold, that you tasking your director of operations to do. I think your superintendents are good. I don't know how many times you have a meeting with just your superintendents, and getting them on board with what you want to do. I also think that your deputy director that we're going to hire here should have some of those duties and some of those oversight that you know that you can't get to or appoint to have them actually do. The productivity, yeah, I think if you decide to empower your superintendent, I think they're already empowered, but for hold them accountable for certain things like, let's say, overtime. You know, there's no reason for us to have as much overtime as we have, other than people be not feel emergency comes up and so forth like that. That's just opinion here. However, if we hire a director of operations and he's your spokesperson, he should not be having the superintendent report directly to him or her. They need to still be appointed directly to you, and have that line of communication directly. But he or she should speak for you to carry out all these other entities that you want done, such as the training, the productivity, all these other things that maybe you couldn't get to. But I really think the deputy director should do this thing.
My intent was to have a position that would be located in the field at the location where the work's getting done, an operational position. I don't.
What about one of your superintendents doing that?
Well,
It might be one of my superintendents that would
I'm
do
not
the
sure
job, but I need an
your
overview of the
director of
overall.
operations can be out there.
Huh?
He can be out in the field. per
That's what I'm
se.
saying, the director of operations would be in the field. It wouldn't be
Yeah,
an office job.
but I guess what I mean, they call him the S3 operations officer, G3, J3. He was out in the field seeing what was going on, to make sure that your wishes are being carried out by the superintendents.
That's
That's
the
what you
direction we're
want.
going here.
Yes, okay, but they're not direct reports to the operations.
And
but
I'm not bothered by that.
Yeah, the staff position is a very key position in a military organization. And when the three is out there looking at your stuff, it's like the commander, you, which is what you're trying to do, looking at it. Because the superintendent will know that if things are awry and not being done correctly, that their boss is going to find out about the minute that the S3 or the J3, G3 leaves the site. So it works out well because you're achieving what you're trying to achieve, I think.
Yep.
And at the same time, you have control over it. I think it's a better solution than having the director have them as direct reports, because that way, if the director of operations is having a problem getting things done right, he's liable to not tell you what's going on when they're.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Mr. Donaghy, you got in here, this is just for 2017, 18, but what's the overall cost of the director of operations position? For you, what's the yearly cost, annual cost?
I don't.
This is just for one quarter here, so full-time.
I'm gonna say salary and benefits, somewhere in the order of 100 and,
Well, salary and full.
35.
Would be 4 times this number.
That's 140.
140.
All right.
So, to your question, do you want to approve positions with the budget, or do you want to approve positions individually?
I personally would like to do it, the 3 that we have here for the planning, for the fees and whatever like that, I think they should be with the budget, but the others should be individually as we have discussed it, and then we decide that, yes, we want to go ahead and fund those positions. the three that's, the fees, I have no issue with that.
I kind of lean towards that way too, because I guess part of my question is, isn't the reason that your people are so overworked is not because we're expanding this system, it's because we're trying to get the system to recover, right? So at some point in time.
No, the ones we were talking about being overworked with PHC folks, they're overworked because there's more development coming in, and more things they're having to deal with than we've got resources to look at.
Well, aren't they busy doing capital projects now that actually are fixing the system? Fixing the existing stuff that we have?
We're doing some things, but there is a lion's share, I mean a major lion's share of the work that needs to be done to fix the system that we're never gonna get to at the rate things are being funded.
Okay, I'll tell you what, we need to, we can be discussing this whole day. I think the three positions, that we had agreed with the three positions, with the fees to move forward. The other two, let's have another discussion on director of operations. We will take this under advisement, Mr. Junkin. The other positions like operations, financial analyst, that seems to be all right, but we'll make a decision on that. So, I&I tech and electrician seem to be fine with me.
So we're gonna approve the I&I tech as well as the electrician today as well?
Gentlemen, that's fine with me. Any question on that one?
Did you take the book forward?
Yeah. Mr. Ward, you there?
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
And as far as the two positions in finance, commissioners, the customer service rep, we have 4 full-time and 1 part-time, and we've actually had a temporary position in that for a number of years now, and that really is a needed position. As far as the CIS analyst for the new software that will be implemented July 1st, if that person is not hired, that software implementation will fail.
Okay. All right. I'm okay with the finance analyst.
But hasn't this enterprise system, didn't we approve this software like 3 years ago?
Yes.
And we're just coming to the realization that if one person retires, we're gonna fail miserably?
No, it's not because of one person retiring, Commissioner. It's because of the separation of duties within that software. Somebody needs to be able to oversee the entire thing. What the customer service people do, what the billing people do, what the meter reading and utility people are doing, and what the accounts receivable people are doing in processing payments. They all are very good at those individual pieces, but there needs to be one person that can oversee every function of that software and manage that, and make sure that each of the functions are going together properly. Right now, I'm the only employee that knows how to do that.
Part of the justification of the selling point that was presented to the commission during the purchase of some of this major software was the labor that it was going to save by all this implementation. Am I wrong with that? And that was the enterprise, that was the water gems, the sewer
You're not
gems?
seeing, what we have is a situation where this is more succession planning than anything. You have a workforce that's been employed by us for a long time in the financial area. They're nearing retirement. And so this position is one that this person has been with us for 3 years,
A little over
2 years,
working
doing the
with
implementation. And if, I think that by hiring this person and working them into the system, that they're part of the succession planning as people retire.
Okay, so if that's a true statement, then if that retirement takes place, we're not gonna see another position for an
You'll see,
analyst.
you'll see a reduction in number of staff
Okay.
positions in finance, yes.
Yeah, it's just a
Okay.
timing thing.
Sure.
Is your customer service rep, the temporary, is it already in the budget?
The
temporary,
yes,
is already
yeah,
in the budget?
we've simply shifted the cost of the temporary service to the personnel items. And then there's some additional cost if that person does take full health insurance coverage, that's a significant cost.
Well, the reason why I guess we so concerned about this is because we're getting ready to do increasing our rate to our ratepayers, and when they see that we're hiring more people with that, that tends to be a negative. So
Especially at these salaries.
it just, and it's coming at a bad time because the county is raising their fee, their millage rate, and doing a lot of things. So this whole community seems to be in a negative spin about increases in governmental fees and so forth, and they're looking at what are they getting out of these increases, what new things they're getting. So, Jay, that's one of the reasons why you, as our PAO, gonna have to be on this thing real tough and find out what's the pulse of the community, because of what the whole community is proposing, other government agencies are proposing. We're just not here in a vacuum. This community is really gonna be, we're gonna be asking for dollars from everybody trying to get the same dollar from the same person, so to speak. So that's where you're gonna come in really beneficial for us. So, gentlemen, are we in agreement with the financial analyst and the customer service rep, and also system pumping and maintenance and system pumping and maintenance electrician, I guess, and electrician? And also the three,
3 positions were deleted.
yes. Are we in agreement with that?
I
Okay, all right, we will move this forward to the regular meeting today at 2. Okay. Mr. Junkin, we will continue to discuss your director of operations. We haven't really made a good decision on that, but we know it's coming at the last part of the quarter anyhow, so we got some time for that, and then we'll just move it to our next meeting. Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Donaghy. All right, our next item is recruiting and termination stats by Ms. Baylie Lane.
Good morning, I'm Cindy Barnhart. Baylie Lane is out with a family funeral today. I'm the senior HR generalist at Teamwork Services. Baylie had provided the information on the recruiting efforts that we have currently. There are 7 titles that are advertised as of May 30th. Year-to-date number of job applicants or resumes that we have received, 615 total. Broken down by those positions, for deputy executive director, we've received 43 candidates. Wastewater maintenance mechanic, we've received 13. For manhole rehab technician, we've received 26. For water treatment plant operator 3, we've been in receipt of 23 candidates for that position. For utility service worker 1, we've received 61. That has been open the longest. For equipment operator, we received 36. For accounts payable coordinator, we received 19 responses. And for water distribution crew leader, we've received 7. These positions are advertised on the Brunswick Joint Water and Sewer website. They're advertised on the Teamwork Services job seeker page on our website, and also per policy in the Brunswick News, the Golden Isles News, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, online and in print. Year-to-date referrals from current employees are listed at 77. Since our last meeting, we have not had any employee terminations. And employment offers have been made to the accounts payable coordinator. Out of the 19 candidates, 6 were interviewed, and this new hire is supposed to start on June 5th.
I have one question. What is the policy when you receive all these applications? What's the time frame for you to get them to the hiring manager so he can review them, or does he request them from you guys?
We send these to the hiring managers like twice a week. We're scanning applicants to them twice a week.
Do you guys screen them for?
We do not do a pre-screen. If there are some that apply for a position they have no background for, I mean, none whatsoever, we would not forward that one.
Okay. What's the time frame for the supervisor or the hiring manager to get them back to you, or if you say, I would like to interview these?
To the best of my knowledge, there really isn't a set time frame. Like when a candidate does apply with us, we tell them that you need to wait and see. It depends on the hiring manager's time frame. I mean, they might hear something in a week, you might not hear anything for a month. So we don't have a set time frame from the superintendents to go to the next step, to the best of my knowledge.
That's some of the reason why positions are being open so long?
And I think with equipment operator, there were more than one position, or someone would start and leave, or there could be numerous positions open for that particular job title.
Well, I'm not against having a job pool, having a pool of applicants. That's
Right.
not against that. But when we have a position advertised, it should be a process where we can get those individuals hired instead of keep pushing unless it's something to do with finance. That issue.
Yeah.
They're just the managers not following through.
It's not that they're not following through, it's sometimes I think it's a matter of need of to refill the position. In the case of the accounts payable coordinator, I need that person here, I couldn't afford any time lag from that person being transferred to another division and having that, somebody performing that job, so we move relatively quickly on that.
Right, you move quickly, but other managers may not move. That's one.
I can't speak for the other superintendents, Commissioner.
I can speak to that a little bit. I don't know about on the lower level, the less skilled jobs, there's probably not much reason to hold them up. But the higher you go up in the skilled ranks of, and into the professional ranks, the more difficult it is to get that good candidate that you can get to come and take the job. So, it's a process of getting the right candidate as opposed to just filling the slot.
I agree.
And it is, as you know, if you're into the recruiting, you're in the hiring aspect, sometimes you've got a short window to catch that candidate before they're hired by someone else.
That's exactly my point. too.
And I know, there was an instance, I think, with water distribution where they had vehicles then, where they didn't have a spot for that person to work if they made the decision immediately because the truck was in.
Rob?
Also, unforeseen circumstances, emergency arises, something similar to a disaster where it causes more funding for a certain other project that affects the bottom line of your budget. So therefore, we just try to balance out everything based on the bottom line.
I understand that too. Mr. Junkin, when you have a process when you want to hire to the high upper echelon individuals, the longer you have it out, the worse it gets for you, mostly because if that person's good, they're going to go elsewhere anyway.
If they're that good, I've already called them.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you're doing that. But I wish others would do the same.
And some of the positions are advertised with a cutoff date where we stop accepting applicants, and others are open till filled.
Yeah, good. I like that too. Questions, commissioners?
I'm going to ask the gentleman, what is a utility service worker one? What is that? I mean, it's been on there since April of last year.
I'm not positive which division.
It's not one of yours.
That's
You
in,
know,
that's in distribution, I think.
Is that water distribution?
Is it the same utility service worker or
It just says utility service worker one.
they have a lot of turnover in distribution, so it could be that this is not the one you saw a year ago.
That's almost
Yeah.
a continuous improvement type
Yeah.
job, because it is,
Is that the lowest level?
Yes,
That's a
sir.
digitator.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I understand.
I
Qualified. Qualified, okay.
Yeah.
Get rid of my gym membership.
Okay, any further discussion?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, gentlemen, before, well, we're gonna go to the executive director update, then we'll go around the table with some issues that I would like to bring up.
The only time I have at this time, Mr. Chairman, is just going into the discussion we just had. We've got the deputy director's position that I've been scouring for candidates. We've got, had one candidate I thought was ideal for the slot, except he's got a couple of issues that would prevent him from being a succession plan option. And of the ones that are out there right now, I've got 10 that I'm reviewing pretty hard, trying to figure one of those can be shaped to this position. Hope to be getting some in-person interviews in the next month and a half to get past this and get that person on board.
Okay. I like to say, I like to have a plan as to, you know, what you want to do, how you, with some type of schedule as how you're going to do these things, instead of, as, you know, I just get to when I get to it. That's one of the reasons why I said.
It's more of a case of getting the right candidates. There just hadn't been an ideal fit, and we're gonna have to make concessions one way or the other on these folks if we take one of the ones that are out there now. And I'm just about to the point where I don't think that ideal candidate's ever gonna show up.
Okay. All right. Do you think, is it more salary driven, or is it more responsibility driven that's causing?
I mean, I can't say. I don't know whether it's, you know, nobody wants to move to the southeast, nobody thinks the salary is adequate, nobody thinks the job is interesting. I don't know. It's surprising to me that we haven't gotten, you know, we've gotten a number of candidates. It's
Right.
just getting folks that are the fit for the job description that we've got out there. I really truly thought we would have had a few candidates anyway that would have plugged in right away. They just haven't shown up.
Are you getting any assistance from teamwork, from the HR?
Oh, yeah.
About that? I mean, some analysis, you know, they should be giving you some analysis about that too, well, about trends and so forth, and it's happening in HR.
Cindy, are y'all capable of, do you understand the question?
I do.
I mean, you guys see a lot of things going on. You up to
True.
date what's happening in the trends, and also in the water and wastewater world. Mr. Junkin, I know you keep you part of that.
I've got a lot of contacts out there, and I've actually been out there personally recruiting, calling some of my better connected associates out there.
Right.
And they tell me that, you know, they had several people they talked to that they thought fit the bill.
Right.
But when they talk to them, they're happy where they are. You know, the extra money just wasn't enough to yank them away.
All right, okay. I understand.
I mean, generally, this is a sought-after area to move.
Yeah.
I mean, I can have a small position open with another client, and I'm hearing from people from Colorado and Michigan and Minnesota that want to move this area, or that are seeking moving to the coast or Savannah area. So I think the area is a draw. And I think the salaries and the benefits are a rich offering.
I thought so too. I'm really surprised that we haven't gotten.
You know, maybe it's because they're seeing that we are having some upheaval here in this community with things. You know, maybe nobody want to jump into this little cat fight or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that could be something too now.
That's your research.
So I don't know.
Maybe.
All right, no problem. Any comment on Commissioner? Executive Director Junkin's update. All right, we've come to the end of our printed agenda, are there anything you'd like to bring to the commission for our
No, I'm good.
Chairman? Well, there's a couple things I want to bring up. And what I'm going to do, I imagine next time I will put it on the agenda. I won't be thinking about it. Our education policy. I want to take a look at that real hard, especially about us. We pay for individuals to go to college, to get degrees to help our organization and reimbursement, so forth like that. I just want to take a look at that, so that'll be for discussion in our next meeting. And also, I need to have a discussion with teamwork for our benefits, what's happening with our medical benefits and what package that we have, so everybody be aware of exactly what it is that we do. So those are things that we want to make sure that we are all aware of how it is, what our what's been offered to our employees, what kind of, I think you guys may have shared it with last time, but we didn't get the full, full gamut of it. Who are our doctors that we go see, what our net worth is, what kind of benefits on vision, legal, medical, and dental, yes. Just get all that, get that straightened out. So, that will be, we'll make sure I put that on our next agenda for discussion. Just giving,
We do have a summary plan of the benefits that we do share with our newly hired staff. And Katina Kendall is our broker who works with Daphne Gable, the
Right.
benefits manager.
I remember she came in, she gave that, I think.
Sure.
But I think we break it all down, so this board, it can understand it, we can understand
Okay.
it, so we
Okay.
get questions. Also, Mr. Junkin, this board too, what we need to, I want to figure out what's our procedure for people bringing stuff to this board. In other words, I know employees come.
Agendas?
Excuse me?
You mean agenda items?
Yes. I don't
It's
know.
not a formal policy that I understand to do that. Right now, what we do is basically canvass managers and staff of what's going on, unless the commissioners themselves ask for specific items like you've done today.
Right.
That's where those agenda items come from.
We may be missing something. When you ask for agenda items, do you send it to the committee chairmen and the board?
She does. She does.
I send
Okay.
it typically I don't send it to all the commissioners for every single meeting.
Yeah, but you do send it at least to the
Committee.
committee.
I do.
Yeah, okay.
And one of the reasons too is that there are some things that maybe can be completed or addressed directly to you, Mr. Junkin, instead of, having, it may be a question that could be answered instead of, that,
Sure.
that's all the point I'm making, to be able to do that.
Oh, yeah, I'm open to that. That's not a problem.
All right, that's all I have. Gentlemen, if nothing else? Okay. Oh,
Did you get the question answered regarding training for hydraulic modeling? We brought Todd in for that, but I don't.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
The question,
Have we utilized, Commissioner Ford was recollected that when we got the gym's hydraulic software, that we were part of the package was to get training.
Correct.
Have we gotten any training from Fort Waters?
We have not cashed in that part of the agreement yet. That will be part of the.
So that's still,
proposed.
they still owe us that.
Yeah, they do. Correct.
When did we had a contract with Fort Waters and everything. So they haven't submitted any final invoice? How long does this contract last?
It's all services rendered, I guess. I have to go back and look and see if there's I don't believe there's a
Final date.
final date on it, but I can go back and pull the original document.
In their defense, there was one, most of the day training with two of the staff members from Four Waters. I sat in with Harry and Dana Reed, so that was over 6 months ago, probably closer to a year. And it really was just how to fire it up, how to make some simple changes, but it wasn't how to do a full analysis of the neighborhood and how it's affected. So I believe we scratched the surface, and their statement to us was, when we get to the point where we're going to be using it on a daily basis, we'll go back to the executive conference room and do another training session.
But every single day that you do not have somebody qualified puts you further behind the curve
The maps are getting old, yes, sir.
on these systems. Absolutely.
The map's not getting old is what I was,
well,
I'm not saying the maps are getting old. but
Nobody's
every
putting the data in those maps
Yes.
locally.
Well, you're saying absolutely what?
If you don't keep up on these hydraulic models, every single development that comes in here, and way back when, that was part of the condition that we kind of approved that modeling software, is that after the big master plan, after we paid Four Waters to get the entire system caught up to date, it would then never be allowed to fall behind, right? But if we don't have anybody qualified and trained, it's already fell behind.
Let me inject one thing in that regard. You're partially right. As the staff makes changes to the system, those changes are going into our GIS, Ezra GIS. As I understand the modeling, and I'm not a modeler, but my understanding is that basically what they do for the model is they download the current GIS components and assets into the model. If there's changes, the model picks it up. They load in the friction factors and those kind of things and all the attributes that go with it. As the changes are there, they'll pick it up. So it's pretty quick to tweak, I guess, to get those engineering attributes loaded in for the changes. It's not you're right, we're getting behind, but it's not a catastrophic kind of an outcome. If that makes sense.
Well, it sort of does, but I would be curious to see from once Four Waters had it at this point, how many developments have been added and have all the characteristics of those developments actually been inputted into the system.
Into the model?
Into the model. Because the model can only take so much information just from GIS. Other data has to be manually input, and then the actual simulations can be run. And that would avoid the St. Simon's kind of fiasco for any of these potential lift stations and everything with all the new developments.
That being the defense for having somebody who's focused day in and day out as an hydraulic modeler.
Well,
I want to carry this discussion a little farther, because what Dave is talking about is wasn't what I was thinking more of, but it folds into something that's starting to really plague me mentally. The planning process in the county is one where they go through a process, and just for an instance, the Island Planning Commission approves, or the Mainland Planning Commission approves a 400 resident unit. Okay, so at what point are we expected to have capability for all those 400 units, given that they're going to be proving something over here? And let's just, let's say that we have 1,000 REU capacity. There's 400 approved over here, and they're building out slow. There's 400 in another place, and they're building out slow. Well, do we now tell this other 400 unit that they can't come on board because all the capacity is used up, when in fact they're sitting there lots and nobody's building on them or anything? But they have 400 of our units claimed supposedly, which is why last year we tried to do what we did with the tap fees. And I'm contemplating proposing a letter to the full commission later on that basically says, when you approve these 400 units, you need to have a build-out plan.
Exactly, so you're right.
And that would fall into what you're talking
That
about on
include-
hydraulic modeling.
That includes a schedule of,
That's right.
If you don't use them within a certain period of time, whatever, they will revert back
I like that,
for use, for future use.
that help us out a lot.
No, I think what you're saying there is right on, David. We just need to get up to speed on it all.
Okay, so did we answer the question about the modeling, or are we still just,
Well, what it sounds like to me, if we pass the budget, when would you actually anticipate hiring this modeler?
Probably right after the budget is passed. We know there's candidates out there that would be suitable. In fact, we
have one right now.
have one identified. If we can offer.
Okay, answer my question.
okay. For the good in the order, Junkin, anything else you want to bring?
No, sir.
Mr. Ford,
No, sir?
Chairman? What happened? It seems like we have come to the end of our printed agenda and our discussion. No further comment. We stand dismissed, adjourned.